Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Tom Homan just eviscerates these reporters who were not prepared with what's actually going on in Minnesota and, of course, the rest of the country. Let's dive in.
President Trump said yesterday that there are hundreds of thousands of murderers that ICE is going after.
There's a lot of murders. I just don't have that number with me.
That number seems to keep growing all the time. What do you think is a more realistic number of how many murderers
I'm not saying the president isn't realistic. I don't have those numbers in front of me.
There are hundreds of thousands of people on the loose who committed murders in the U.S.?
I think we arrest a lot of murderers, and I don't have a number, and I'm not going to comment on President Comics. I don't have that data in front of me.
Mr. Homan, with the defunding of sanctuary jurisdictions, could you say anything about what funds are going to be pulled back and which are not? And can you also describe your relationship with Mayor Mamdani versus Eric Adams?
First of all, I don't think decisions have been made yet about specific funds, but I support pulling federal funds away from cities that release public safety threats in their communities. You're out working with us. This sanctuary cities are sanctuary for criminals. I have not met with the mayor of New York City. I did meet with the prior mayor, Eric Adams, because he asked for a meeting. So we'll see what happens. I have not met with Mamdani. The only time I've ever seen him is up in Albany, New York, before he ran for mayor, and he was screaming and yelling and pushing his way through state police to try to get a moment with me. But I was too busy eating my apple and ignoring him.
Mr. Homan, when it comes to Minneapolis, we're seeing images like yesterday of a woman who was stopped by federal agents. She was dragged out of her car. I know DHS always has a response to this as to why they're acting that way. There are Americans who see this and say this looks like Putin's Russia. What is your
That's ridiculous. You know what? In Minneapolis, let's remember who set the stage here. First of all, the Biden administration let millions of people release millions of illegal aliens in this country in violation of the law. Many of them criminals because they weren't properly vetted. We're arresting thousands of them. So first of all, they created the problem with millions of illegal alien criminals in this country. Second of all, Minneapolis, they're a sanctuary city. You know, if they'd let us in their damn jail and stop being a sanctuary city, we could arrest the bad guy in the safety and security of a jail. But because they normally release them, now we got to go in the community and find them. Then they're mad we're in the community. President Trump made us promise to American people, we're going to find these criminals and make America safe again. So if they don't let us in a jail, we're going to go in the community. And the difference is, in places that's not a sanctuary, one agent can walk into a jail and arrest one criminal illegal alien. But when you release them in the community, now we got to send the whole team because we got to arrest somebody on their turf. They have access, who knows what weapons. It makes it dangerous for the officer, makes it dangerous for the alien, and certainly makes it dangerous for the community. So if Minneapolis wants to help, like I saw Mayor Frey do an interview this morning, let us in your damn jail. What's the downside of letting a federal law enforcement officer with immigration authority talk to an illegal alien that you already locked up and put in a jail cell? It's ridiculous that they're pushing back on that.
Mr. Homan, on some of the when it comes to some of the ICE agents that are going door to door in places like Minneapolis, I'm just curious how you square some of those going into these homes with the Fourth Amendment search and seizure. How do you square those two things, and is there any potential violation of Fourth Amendment with some of these ICE agents' activities going into some?
If any ICE agent, Border Patrol violates policy, they're allowed to be held accountable. But we got to remember that, you know, there's a lot of confusion out there, difference between reasonable suspicions and probable cause. If an officer gathers reasonable suspicion from a myriad of circumstances, a bunch of factors, they can temporarily detain and question somebody on an immigration interview. In order to arrest that person, you got to establish probable cause. I can't sit here and pull out case by case. I think the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol are doing a difficult job in a very unfriendly area where law enforcement response for emergency response is sporadic at best. Death threats are up over 8,000%. Actual assaults up 1,300%. I know because threats against me and my family have tripled in the last couple of weeks. They got a dangerous job to do. Again, let us in the jail to arrest a public safety threat. Because I said this 1,000 times, when you force us in the community to find the public safety threat, many times you're with others, or we find others in the process of doing that. If we find them, they're in the country illegally, they're getting arrested too. So more officers in the street means more collateral arrests. We have promised American people we're going to force immigration. So let me tell you why we have the most secure border in the history of this nation today. Part of it is because of what ICE is doing. We have shown the whole world there are consequences to enter this country illegally. We're not going to send a message, cross the border illegally, it's a crime, don't worry about it, get order removed, don't worry about it. Unless you commit another crime, no one's looking for you. If that's the message we send, you're never going to fix this problem. We send a strong message, and that's why we have the most secure border in the history of the nation. And President Trump, by doing that, is saving thousands of lives. We know that women and children aren't making that dangerous journey. We know that no one's drowning in the river today. We know fentanyl isn't coming across at the levels it came to Joe Biden. We certainly know no inspected terrorists aren't coming across like Joe Biden. We're doing the right thing. We're going to keep with it, and they can protest all they want. We're just going to double down and enforce the law. And I said for months, we're going to surge resources in sanctuary cities because that's where the problem is. We know they're releasing public safety threats. We're going to send the agents where we know the biggest problem is.
He's told stories before of just horror stories of people being put in literal hot boxes, being shipped across the border. They get apprehended, and he's had to cradle dying children in his arms. That isn't happening right now. I should say that with a smile on my face, but I can't. Okay? There's too many awful stories that we keep hearing down at our border. And then there's a reason he name-dragged Mamdani through the mud, and rightfully so. Just a screeching New York liberal in the Albany State House up in upstate New York, which I do find kind of ironic because my favorite president is Theodore Roosevelt, and he did have a higher-pitched voice because despite being this very masculine individual, he was not blessed with a great body. He was constantly sick as a child, and by the time he got to adulthood, his voice sounded like this: "Mr. Speaker!" He had a high-pitched voice, so I can just imagine Mamdani trying to scream his way into New York politics up in the State House out there. But what Tom Homan doesn't talk about, and he doesn't need to talk about, is the amazing rate at which illegal immigration has dropped to here in these United States, okay? Are you ready for this number, okay? Here's the number. The number of people apprehended at the southwest border between October of 2024 and October of 2025 fell 87% from recent year averages, according to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The 237,565 people apprehended during the recent fiscal year is the lowest since 1970. 1970? And that's the known number, and the chart I'm looking at has dropped just at a staggering rate. That's what happens when you have a president who's willing to do what's necessary, as in, actually upholding the actual rules that we have in place. It's amazing what happens. You can just do things. You can just do the things that need to happen in order to make America great. We've lost that ability. We've lost that ability because we've been given this weird set of data points that says our birth rates are collapsing, therefore we need all these extra people. We have these problems with our economy, therefore we need all these extra people. No! We don't need all these extra people. As a matter of fact, if we send them back, the jobs here get better. That's an ugly truth that so many people are not willing to talk about. And when they do, they don't even talk about it properly. The reality is illegal immigration hurts workers. It hurts workers that were born here in the United States. It doesn't hurt rich white liberals. And it doesn't hurt the people that constantly watch these awful reporters who don't want to tell the truth, are more than willing to let just reality pass them by. They don't care that it's happening to them. They don't care that the problems are occurring to their people. They just want it out of their neighborhoods, and they've already succeeded. And thus, rich white liberals are saying that you have to bear the burden of something that you don't want. That's what constantly happens under Democrat rule. That's what constantly happens when rich white liberals start dictating policy. And dictating is the right word. What we're seeing down, not down, up, not at our southern border, but in Minnesota, is what happens when Democrats take a high-trust society that the people that populated that state out there managed to create for themselves and completely wreck it because they assumed that everyone they would bring in would assimilate. And it hasn't happened. Minnesota is essentially a warning. It is a poster child for bad policy, and all for the right reasons. But they've been like this for the past 50 years. As a matter of fact, two of the most toxic presidential candidates in American history, I believe, came out of Minnesota. All right, there's a reason Nixon. There's a reason that Nixon won so heavily. There's a reason why Democrats, the last main Democrats, okay, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, these guys came from the South. That was on purpose. They wanted to keep a coalition together, and then the Democrats thought, no, we're going to completely throw that to the wind. We're going to throw all of our blue colors to the wind. We're going to give you Obama and Biden. And then they tried to give us Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And they tried to foist these terrible policies, not on their areas, but on yours. That is the reality of Democrat policy. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Tom Homan was absolutely perfect here. And by the way, I can tell that nature is healing because you can actually hear the birds in the background of this video. It's one of the odd things that I miss about DC, strangely enough. But anyways, that's what I think. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.